in the era of COVID poses many challenges. Earlier, I was able to spend time with Jeff Carlson and Rebecca S. Bjornson, the husband and wife duo of Lighthouse Excursions, to talk with them about those challenges and to get a very special tour with Captain Kyle Bailey.
My name is Captain Kyle again, speaking to you from the wheelhouse. I'm going to be operating this vessel today, providing some of the narration. Showing you my hometown, actually. I live year-round here in Ketchikan. Off to our right-hand side, titan of industry here. We have broken down brick buildings, highly industrialized landscape here. This is the remnants of the Ketchikan Pulp Company. Served as a major economic driver here in Ketchikan. And some people were afraid that Ketchikan might go under, but luckily, thanks to the increase in tourism, here we are today. Now this factory here, or the remnants of it, they were responsible for harvesting and processing trees cut from these very mountainsides and processing them down into pulp to ship all around the world. But as this area is giving way to tourism, just ahead of us and on our right-hand side, we have a brand new dock. This one built here just last summer for what was set to be our record-breaking tourist season here in Ketchikan. We of course know how that went. But now this building off to our right will serve as a visitor center to two more Panamax cruise ships. Now those are the largest class of cruise ship, able to fit into the waters into Southeast Alaska as our industry continues to grow. They'll pull right in here. And this will look more like downtown Ketchikan.
So I'm the owner-operator,
Okay.
yep, and she's a shore operations manager.
Yeah, so we do run it as a team. So we're definitely like a two-person management team.
Husband, wife, duo.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. But he's technically the I don't technically
yes.
own it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's, I mean, normally when we even like talk with our employees at the beginning of a year, we talk about he typically is, you actually put it a certain way.
I like to say that she runs the business,
Yes.
and I keep the business running.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So, yeah, so he does a lot of that, like the operations and maintenance. So he'll often be captaining one of the boats, and then he's definitely managing the staff that are down on the dock.
Okay.
And then I am administrative, so I'm doing HR, accounting. I'm like talking with the cruise lines. I'm talking with the guests. I'm handling bookings. So I'm doing anything you can think of, and insurance often, like anything
Right.
that is happening to just keep the glue
To
of
keep
everything going.
Yeah.
And so that's, I'll do the scheduling for the employees, all of
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And a lot of that has kind of naturally come because of the fact that Jeff was operating the boat as a captain, so.
Right.
And so I'm spending the duration of the tour on the boat, operating the tour,
Right.
narrating, doing all of that.
Yeah.
And then when that's all over, I'm, doing the maintenance and troubleshooting various things that can, go wrong or make things go right.
Yeah.
It's my job. Is to
Yeah,
keep it
you
going.
have a lot
Good
of
job.
Thanks.
Good job, you too. Well, they take really different skill sets.
Yeah, oh,
Totally
sure do.
different skill sets and strength zones. So going back to complementing each other's strengths and making up for maybe a little bit of. I'm not great at paperwork, but
Yes,
Right,
exactly.
absolutely.
Phone calls freak me out.
Fortunately, we have the same. We don't typically have the same weaknesses, but we do have some overlap with some strengths, and so that there are times it's really important in our business that we're both present and there for it. But yeah, we do really fit into these roles nicely, and it helps out. It's
I bet.
so, but it's been fun.
Yeah.
But we are a small business still, but we were in this position of growth in 2019, so we were growing very quickly, and so we as we were talking about earlier, there was this period of time where we realized we need a lot more roles in our company, and we were expanding, and then of course the pandemic came along. So
Right. So what was your initial reaction? Can you tell me the timeline through early 2020, or so March 13th, kind of everything shut down. What was life like for you guys through this months last that time?
You know, I'm going to go back just about 1 month from that, from March.
Yeah.
We got married in February of 2020.
February 2020, yeah.
And that was a wonderful event, a party, you know, 150 people in attendance, and we're all dancing and holding hands and hugging and doing these things that you do at weddings. Then we went to our honeymoon in Norway, got back about 3 weeks later, and a week after we got back, the country shut down.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and we're just getting ready for our record-setting 2020 season.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I guess if you're asking about a reaction, disbelief, kind of shock, like, wow, what?
Yeah.
The last thing we expected for our third year of business was to be entirely shut down.
Right.
Absolutely. We were getting to a point where, you know, when you do have a transition of ownership, there are so many things that were set up so well for this company that this is its 20th year of operation. And so the Holstons did an excellent job of dialing in so much for this company, but of course we also have our own personality and
you bring your own flair, you make it yours,
So we were working on some of those transitions, and we kind of got to the point like, okay, the things that we wanted to update, we're really getting those under our belt, and that sort of feels like our personality, or our unique flavor, and so we were just like, oh, guns blazing, ready to go. And so, I mean, I think that a lot of it was when we were coming back from our honeymoon, the question just was, have you been to Wuhan? It wasn't really, there wasn't much more than that. So we're like, oh, we're aware of this, but we weren't expecting it to have quite the impact it did. As we started reading more and more, when it finally did happen, I wouldn't say I was actually surprised about we had just started reading and reading because as we started seeing it coming down the pike, we were like, okay, this could impact our business. And when something's going to impact your business, what we both do is we go into get as much information as possible. And so early in the pandemic, honestly, is we were spending hours and hours and hours researching between not just what was happening with the virus, so we knew how it would impact us and what we would be expected to do as a business, but also ultimately financial programs.
Sorry to interrupt. You know, as a seasonal business, of course, we'd already just gone through a winter of no business because of the seasonal nature of the tour industry in Ketchikan. So going into the summer already, you know, having not done business for 7 months, and then to see coming down the pike that we're not going to do business at all this summer. So, and that's not just 5 months lost. Now we got to go from the full 7 months we just lost, 5 months plus the whole year to get to 2021.
Right.
And so penciling that out, I don't think any business is prepared to lose a year and a half of revenue.
No.
And so the big question was, how do we get to the other side? Where's that bridge? And that's when, of course, the CARES Act started kind of shaping up, and we wouldn't be here if not for the PPP program and some of the other federal aid.
The grants that came with that, the EIDL loan. Like, so there's just a series of programs that, you know, there are some businesses that were able to slowly start out, but when you're a seasonal tour business in Southeast Alaska and the size of our boats, we are quite dependent on the cruise lines because we just don't get enough to fill our boat to make us able to operate without them. Just in our model, if we had smaller vessels, we could have accommodated that, but it's just, you know, our size is our limiting factor. We're just big enough that we can't fill with guests who are in hotels or just traveling independently.
At least not on any regular basis.
Right. Right.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, in the last few months, we've operated once a week, and you know, we got a handful of people, but it wouldn't be enough at all to operate 7 days a week like we're used to, and that's what our business model is based on. Is that level of operation to keep the whole thing going. So it was definitely a transitional time, but we are so grateful that there has been aid from not just the federal government, but also, as we had been talking about earlier, just our state representatives really fought for Alaska, and a lot of, even in those programs during that time, there were a lot of things that had to be worked out in them. They were not applicable often to seasonal operators. And so I spent a lot of time on the phone and researching and talking to bankers and to accountants and to our representatives and to our lawyer, figuring out literally, where do we fit in this? And then reflecting that back to our delegation, and we got a lot of support from them ultimately as a industry, and that was incredible. We needed that, and so I know that there are some businesses that did not make it through this time, and we are just grateful every day that we're one that did, because it was definitely a challenging time as far as that went, but at least we're in this time where we have light at the end of the tunnel. We just did our first tour yesterday with cruise lines.
Now coming into view just off to our right-hand side, this is called Totem Pole on the Point. This Totem Bice State Park here was built in 1938 by the Civilian Conservation Corps as a way to retain the rich cultural history here in Ketchikan. On this totem pole, it's simply titled Pole on the Point. We can see a shaman carved at the very top, holding a staff of some sort, said to give him magical powers. Other animals carved along this totem pole would depict stories of Tlingit and Haida design.
So that was really exciting.
Yeah, we had, what boat was it?
The Celebrity Millennium.
Millennium came in with 1,200 passengers on it. Yeah, so you had a semi-normal. How was that? How was that yesterday for you?
It was fantastic. It felt great to receive passengers in the way that we do, that like she's talking about how our business model works is these cruise lines come in, they drop passengers off at the pier, and they come to us and they're on our boat, and then we go. Personally, I had the wonderful opportunity to greet my own guests and let them know that I'm the owner of this company, and we haven't had guests from a cruise line in 659 days. And that was a weird number to say. I had to double check it because it was true. And to express gratitude to these folks who decided to come up to visit Alaska and then decided to take our tour. And when I expressed that gratitude, they applauded, which felt so good. They were grateful that we had made it through all of this so that they could come and enjoy what we have to offer.
That makes me so emotional. I'm like them in it. I'm there. I'm living it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's so.
And it ran smoothly, which is interesting to have gone a year and a half without having done business, and it's oddly enough feels like almost there was no time between it. Like, okay, we all know what we need to do, pick back up and do it.
Like riding a bike?
Exactly.
Well, and there's something, especially I think, speaking to that too, because we're a really small business, we have also gotten support from a lot of guests who are saying we want to see you on the other side. Because one of the things that we find really important on our tour is that it is genuine and that people are able to connect with us as a company. We don't like to, again, hold people at a hands an arm's length away. Although we do with the 6 feet these days.
I need 3 arm lengths.
But one of the best compliments that Jeff ever got in the wheelhouse was someone said, I didn't feel like I was on a tour. It wasn't like a scenes on a dance routine. It was that they felt like they'd been out on a boat with their friends. And that's really our goal with our guests on our tour, is that it is small enough. We're taking at our most, we're taking around 30 to 40 guests. And it just depends on what vessel I guess they're on. And in that we have 2 deckhands and 1 captain, and they are getting a lot of interaction with all of those guests. And so it has that ability to take a large enough capacity, but also still feel intimate. And especially when we're going along, our coastline, because our boats are only 60 feet, we can get really close to the shore in a lot of places with that glacially carved coastline. And so give them guests, maybe even who are less mobile, an experience where you're getting closer to the trees, the shore, but also seeing the beautiful ocean, seeing the marine wildlife, and you're not getting into a smaller vessel that might be hard for someone who's less mobile. And so that's definitely something that we try to do, is that have that personable, authentic family feel, and then also be accessible for folks.
Yeah, well, I definitely felt that when I was on the tour, when we filmed, and it was, I was impressed by, I was just impressed by so much, really. The boat is beautiful. Captain Kyle was phenomenal with his driving the boat, and then also his narration. I was really amazed and impressed by is like, we're going through some really narrow little passages and getting very, very up close to the shoreline, and like just the ability to you stop in the boat, we're up close to things, and letting all of the different visitors take their pictures, get their binoculars out, and yeah, I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Thank you.
All right, so for those of you who are interested in seeing another eagle's nest, we have a great opportunity coming up just ahead of us on our right-hand side. This one's built into the trees as well, but it's going to be significantly closer. Now it's coming into view here in the wheelhouse. You should expect to see it if you haven't yet. Silhouetted with the white clouds beyond it, you get a sense for how large these nests actually are.
Having that time to sit and think about what we do, why we love doing it, and how we can improve upon it, and having that time to actually work on it felt great. You know, we were able to enhance our training programs for our captains and deckhands. Of course, there was a lot to train on with the changes that had to occur this summer to make all this safe for everybody, and so that was warranted, and really nice to have that opportunity. Also, to spend that time making these boats exactly how we wanted them to be. When when we purchased this company, we have, of course, you get this, and it's kind of a passing of the torch, from the prior owner, and you settle into it, and then you start to think about like, how do I make this my own, and so we took that opportunity to kind of spruce up the boats a little bit, update some aesthetics, and so it feels good now that after a year and a half, passengers are coming back and they come on board and they're like, oh, what cute boats, they're not haven't just been sitting for a year and a half.
Yeah, they're not all moldy and mildewy, and there's some spider webs.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, we've definitely worked a lot on that. One of the things, the major changes that we made that we'd been planning on making is that we updated our onboard snack. So the snack before was kind of what I would call like a Midwest buffet. So like salmon dip, cheese, crackers, cookies, fresh fruit, and so it was something you might find, in that environment aside from the wild salmon. And our demographic loved it. Like, don't get me wrong, but we just are really passionate about supporting and networking with other local companies in Alaska, supporting local. We are a local company, and we're really proud of Alaska. And so we wanted to make sure that that portion of our tour really showcased this region. And so we've definitely retained the salmon dip and the crackers.
It's a staple.
It's a staple.
It was delicious.
we quite literally get people calling us frantically at the holidays because we give out that recipe at the end of the tour, and they're like, oh my goodness, I lost the dip. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
That's right.
And so so we definitely keep that. But then we also have an alder smoked salmon from Taant'a Seafoods that we're doing now. We have bullcap pickles from Barnacle Foods out of Juneau, and then we also have Chugats chocolate. We serve a square with the snack, and that the intention with that is very, very specifically to actually help showcase those businesses. We really love their products, and so even where you can buy a can of salmon on board our boat, you can buy a chocolate bar, but the point is to not be a big retailer of those items. The point is to actually direct those folks to those businesses and hopefully send business their way ultimately. And we really truly believe that no business is an island, and especially when you're on an island in Southeast Alaska and we're remote, and so the more we can support each other, the better it's going to be. And so we are supported by their products, and then hopefully we're able to give back to those businesses as well, for providing such a quality items for us on board.
They were delicious. It was lovely. We were sitting next to a couple of gentlemen from New York who had been to Alaska, to Denali in the interior a lot, and they love Alaska, but this was their first time to Southeast, and it was their first day in Southeast, and they were just blown away. Really.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, it was really fun, and it was fun. I was watching them eat the food, and I was like, how do they like those kelp pickles?
Yeah, that's always the question. I love them. But I think that's always the one that's it gives an opportunity for us to also educate on Southeast Alaskan foods. And so, I mean, because our boats are of the size they are, we can't get quite as close as if you're in a Zodiac or a kayak to the water line, because as we all know, there's often bull kelp floating around. But sometimes we do see them, and so that's even something we've talked about, is it gives another way for our deckhands to say, oh yeah, actually, you know, bull kelp, it's in the waters, and you know, it has many uses, including you can turn it into a horn. He can play taps. Taps are bull kelp.
That doesn't surprise me. Yeah, that's good job. Yeah. Man, we should have had you come and play taps for our beach Olympics. That would have been hilarious.
Right.
We did a bull kelp hammer throw.
Oh my gosh.
As one of our
fun.
our little Olympians were there like throwing.
That's so
kelp. It was
funny.
really fun. Yeah. So what's the biggest lesson that you learned from? I mean, you were only in business by owning this business for a year and a half or so, a couple of years, and then the pandemic happened, and now here we are, kind of re-entering, getting back into what's this new normal that we're looking at. But what's this biggest lesson that you've learned that you're taking away?
I think that's a great question. I think I don't know that I could pare it down to just
one. What's the top three?
I know. I'm going to say immediately, certainly adaptability. Look, we purchased this business, and the nice thing about purchasing an already active business is that the model's there. All you got to do is keep it running. And so, we didn't build this thing from scratch. And so coming into this 2020 season and almost feeling like we need to rebuild from scratch, instilled into us this adaptability piece that we need to be adaptable. And then, as she was just kind of talking about, is reliance on those around you. I mean, our community, our delegation, our even our competitors have been so kind and like, whatever you need, let's help each other out. A rising tide floats all boats, so let's get through this together.
And our number one, absolutely, without a doubt, is our crew.
Our crew.
Like 100%.
Yeah.
Like, we could not be here without them, and oh my gosh, I was gonna get emotional. We couldn't, I mean, that is so important. And, along with that, like, just community and that kindness, that compassion, like being kind to others and also receiving it in return, like, that has been one of the most incredible things. Ketchikan is such a close-knit community, and it shows up. Even when everyone's struggling, there's a common, you feel that commonality, and so I think that compassion really does shine through. You said there was 3: adaptability, community.
I think that's and the crew,
and
really.
The crew.
Yeah,
that's 3. That's, yeah. Having been in business myself, I can say 100% that you're right on the money.
Good.
You're not off in outer space somewhere.
And you were in business much longer than we were.
Yeah.
That's good. We're gonna take a check.
Yes. Good job. So, like, looking forward into the future, I mean, what do you see for yourselves, for Lighthouse Excursions in the next 5 years in a perfect world? How does that look for you two?
Well, I think going into this, getting into the 2020 season, we were looking forward to kind of expanding on our crew, expanding that staff to help us get to a point where it's, it's got a family feel, our tour, but we occupy a lot within the company. I'm often captaining the boats. She's often dock repping while also answering the phone. And so for us to expand and be able to offer more opportunities to locals, young kids, to deckhand, while also giving us the opportunity to really put our minds into the business, more so than our labor, right? Put our brains into it, and to expand on exactly what makes this tour great and how do we make that better.
Yeah, it's just when you are operating a direct service position for an entire day, you just don't have, and it's for 5 months straight, you just don't have that creative brain space during that time, and so you get some of that in the winter months, and that's really helpful. But also just having those supportive roles that are in there too. And we have a lot of, with our incredible core crew, there is a lot of groupthink that happens too, and so we're always thinking about, okay, what can we do better as a team? And so so even having the ability to, I mean, I think our long-term goal is to have some year-round positions for some of those staff so that they could also support that bigger vision development in there. And at this point, we're the two year-round positions. You know, we have some staff that will sometimes, you know, our captains will check on the boats if we happen to be out of town, and we have some maintenance projects we'll do at certain times of the year. But having that year-round presence, it does really help a company to go from that mom and pop to the next level of growth. And you know, we're not just growth for the sake of growth. We're like, our vision is, if we have something that is worthy of that growth, then we're gonna pursue that. And so that's what we're always thinking. And especially as this industry was growing, it was growing. Now it's retraction, but I do believe it's going to start to do this again, especially, you know, with the presence of Ward Cove, dock that's just our neighbor down here. And so there's lots of opportunity in this industry to do some really cool things and grow. And so, yeah, I think that we would hope to be able to do that.
Your tour is the only one right now that I know of that actually is leaving from Ward Cove. Is that correct?
As of right
now.
Right
now.
Yeah.
Yes, today. But I really appreciated being able to come out here and to start here and to go through Ward Cove and the little tiny islands there and see the little houses on the islands and things like that. So it's just such a unique experience compared to from leaving downtown or whatever.
There's so much history in the downtown area, and there's so much history here too. Some of it, you know, is tied to the downtown area as well. I mean, Ward Cove was during the founding of Ketchikan was competing to be the big community on Revilla-Gagedo Island. It really just came down to where the customs office was going to end up, because this is the first port, as you're coming northward from Canada, that you're going to land in. Wherever that customs office lands, that's where the big population is going to start to grow. And it was between Ward Cove, Ketchikan, and Loring. Eventually, the federal government chose downtown Ketchikan, and that's where it started.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah, it's just, it's a very unique and one-of-a-kind tour that you guys are providing, and going out to Guard Island, and I just really like seeing all the seals on the beach.
They're so cute.
They're so cute. I was like, where's my binoculars?
Well, and we like to say it's kind of a grab bag of Ketchikan attractions, right? Because you're getting, well, one, you're on the water, which Ketchikan is such a water-focused community, just period. So having grown up in Montana originally, like, I was very mountain-focused, and I got here, I was like, I took him on a trail he'd never been on, because, you know, water-focused family.
I was always on the water.
I was on the water.
Yeah, exactly. So it's, I do feel like when you're in Ketchikan, if you get on the water, it's really experiencing the culture here. It's around fishing, it's around the water. And but being able to do, you know, you're on the water, and then you're going out to see wildlife. So of course the American bald eagle is our highlight, because we see them all over. But also you often, it's very rarely do we not see a harbor seal, I would say.
True.
But harbor seals, but sea lions, sometimes you see mink, blue heron. So you're seeing all of that marine wildlife, and you know, by the lighthouse even sometimes humpback or orca whales. So you're getting all of that, but then you're also passing Totem State Park. So we're being able to showcase some of the just very rich, incredible Alaska Native culture we have here. And then Guard Island Lighthouse, which is a different part of the history. You know, when we're talking about early settlers coming to this region. And so you're getting these different historical points. Then the more recent industrial history of this area. And then of course the old growth forest on Gravina side, which is, there's been development off and on there, but a lot of it's untouched. And so I think that's kind of what I talk about when I get someone on the phone curious about our tour. And we're like, well, it's a lot of different points, and you're going to see where we live, you're going to learn about the history, you're going to learn about modern history and past, you know, or modern times and past history. And so we do try to kind of touch all the points. But
no, it's beautiful. It's beautiful and unique, and I really appreciate it. So if people were interested in learning more about the tours that you offer, more about Lighthouse Excursions, where's a good place for them to go?
Wow.
Great question.
Yes. We do have a website, so lighthouseexcursion.com, but we also are on Instagram and on Facebook, so you can definitely follow us on there. Along with all my different hats, I am the social social media person as well. I do get support from our staff sending me videos and photos and all of that, but we do keep an active presence there, and we actually have found quite a few guests through Instagram this year, so you could certainly do that or call us. I'm always happy to talk to someone on the phone. It's, you know.
I bet it's fun, right?
Yeah,
in a world of everything's like online and digital, it's nice to connect.
I don't get a phone call as often, but usually when I do, I can tell them with assuredly that I can see 2 eagles out my window, because we have a pair that likes to sit outside our window.
Very
that's, you know, really nice. But all of those ways are great just to reach out and learn about our tour. 2022 is really where we're looking. We have a short little season right now, and we're so excited for the business that we have, but 22 is definitely where we're looking at more of that, you know, all the fingers crossed, back to normal, and, you know, hopefully a full crew again, too.
So this would not be a complete interview if I didn't ask. So you were married in February of 2020. How's your first little over a year of marriage been?
It's actually been wonderful.
Aside from the pandemic part.
One of our employees on our 1-year anniversary, she told us, she's like, I think you get credit for at least 3 years for this first one.
I thought, I'll take it. But
yeah, we I guess we knew that we had strengths that complemented each other and that we offset weaknesses with one another, but we had not had an opportunity to work quite so closely with each other, being, you know, especially working on the administrative side of the business, which I got to learn a lot of this year, which is good. I think we learned that we confirmed that we worked very well together.
And we got, I mean, again, you have to take the silver linings where they are. We're also, he's my best friend, and so you know, we did a lot of things. We played a lot of board games.
We did.
We love board games. We played a lot of chess together.
Oh, good.
We watched for Queen's Gambit in it, you know. Played a lot of chess, a lot of poker. Like, we were just, you know, doing everything we could. We walked around Ward Lake literally every day. Every day
of 2020, I think we got around Lake.
Rain or shine, because it was really important to be, like I said, moving in the same direction together, where you're both walking, and that's our thinking space. We walk around the lake a lot to sort of talk about creative thoughts, and it's like a walking meditation sort of thing, you know. So yeah, we actually got this extended honeymoon as well.
Yes, you didn't have all those crazy tourists coming in and bothering you while you're trying to enjoy time together.
We got a lot of time together.
We got a lot of time together.
And you're still smiling. That's
definitely.
And talking to each other. So good job. Awesome. Is there anything else that we should cover before we say goodbye for the day?
No, you know, I don't. I guess call us if you guys have questions that we didn't answer.
Thanks so much for making the time and
really
coming to chat with us.
For letting us come on.
It was great.
Like, here we are with our cameras.
It was great to have you guys aboard. So anytime,
so
you know, just call us up. And
it was so fun. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you guys.
Of course. Yeah.
So no doubt, while on your travels through Alaska, or wherever it may take you, getting photos of wildlife and scenic points of interest, make sure you grab a photo of the most rare and unique object of them all. That's going to be the blue sky and sunshine directly behind us.